Hero 6 come from a pretty obscure background in terms of Marvel universe. What drew you, on the characters and how you developed them?
Well, it all stems from passion. You know, all of our movies come from the passion of the director. And so I pitched John Lasseter the idea of doing a mashup because I love Disney animation. I loved Marvel as a kid, and I loved the idea of mashing them up together. And John got very excited by that and set me off to find something. And I did a lot of research. And when I came across Big Hero 6, it was the title, honestly enough. I'd never heard of it as a kid, so but I liked the title. It just sounded cool. And so it made me want to take the next step and say, okay, what is Big Hero 6? Well, it's a Japanese superhero team. Ooh, that's cool, you know? And then I got my hands on the comics and read them, and I just thought the characters were very fun and funny with names like Wasabi No Ginger and Honey Lemon, and they were very appealing characters as well. And you could tell that the creators were having a lot of fun and loved Japanese pop culture. Really, the comic book is a celebration of Japanese pop culture, and which we love as well, and everybody at Disney loves. And so it had that going for it. But also, you could see that there could be a very emotional story here between a 14-year-old super genius who loses his older brother and this robot that essentially heals him. So even though it was obscure, it had all these things going for it, so that when I pitched it to John Lasseter, this was the one he gravitated towards, I think because of the heart.
Yeah, it was the driving force. That relationship between Hero and Baymax was always the driving force of the story, and one of the reasons why we only took, and when I say we only, people are going to be amazed, 3.5 years to make this film. Generally, it takes anywhere from 4 to 6 years to make a film, so this was very quick, and that's because everyone loved the concept.
Great. And the movie, the first baby of the Marvel Disney marriage.
Yeah.
How did you keep the balance between the two universes?
Well, you know, essentially this is our universe. You know, after we picked Big Hero 6, the Marvel guys said, don't worry about setting this in the Marvel universe. You don't have to worry about the Avengers or Spider-Man, or, you know, they've got that covered pretty well over in the live action.
They're doing pretty darn good.
They're doing all right. So they really encouraged us to create our own world. They were really excited by seeing what we would do with it. Now, and that led to the creation of San Francisco, this mythical world, you know, this sort of this mashup, like we're doing Disney and Marvel mashup. We wanted the city to be a mashup, take the Japanese aesthetic from the comic book and apply it to a city that is very iconic, like San Francisco. And so then the balance of making this film, the story actually was probably the most difficult because we wanted to honor the story about loss. Essentially, that's what the movie's about loss. Yes, and healing and learning that those that pass on really are never really gone. They're with us, you know, inside of us. And so it was marrying that idea and honoring that idea with the idea of a superhero origin story as well. And so we iterated and iterated and iterated until we found the right balance of those things.
And the movie depicts such strong women, even and Cassie. She raised those two boys on her own, and you both men. Was it important for you to depict those women?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we live in a world with strong women. You know,
Great.
Yeah, it was really important for us that and I love the fact that you mentioned Cass. Because I think Cass is a hero.
Yeah.
And I think one of the themes of the film is about selflessness and how true heroism is about selflessness. Yeah. And she is selfless in terms of raising those boys. And the same thing with Honey Lemon and Go-Go. Go-Go is probably my favorite character because not only is she tough, and she's probably the only one really ready to become a superhero, but that she has this wonderful warm heart, and there's that one hug that she gives Hero where you realize this is the complete woman.
Yeah, it's really gratifying because, you know, you set off on the journey of making a movie and you have certain things that you want to accomplish, right? And one of them was to not just, because it could have been very easy for this movie to just be a little boy's movie. Really easy. And I was adamant that that was not going to happen. And that meant that all the characters in the film needed to be strong. And every audience member needed to have somebody to aspire to be and to see themselves up on screen. And so it was essential that this not just be a boys' movie or a girls' movie, but a movie for everybody. And I met those girls. I met Honey Lemon. I met Go-Go when I did a research trip and to all these academic institutions, all these places where I was studying robotics and science. There are really strong females out there studying these disciplines, and so I met those girls, and I wanted to make sure that we get that on screen.
And I think it was really cool because what this film does is celebrate intelligence.
Yes.
I love the fact that we are doing a film where the superpower is the brain and technology. And there's a great little theme running in there as well in terms of technology being good or evil, and how you focus that. So there's something, and the world is diverse. I mean, I think our world really reflects the world that we live in. I walk out onto the streets of Paris, I walk out on the streets of Sydney, Australia, Los Angeles. That world is our world. San Francisco is part of us.
There are so many Easter eggs from other Disney movies, like Ants and Flynn. Who gets to decide which of them end up on screen?
Well, I wish I could say that Chris and I, had the, authority over every one of them. But this world is so dense and detail oriented that, quite frankly, Chris and I are still discovering some of them. And at a certain point, we kind of had to tell everybody to stop because it was becoming Easter egg the movie, not Big Hero 6. But in addition to Disney Easter eggs, like you mentioned, there's Marvel Easter eggs too. And if you still frame Fred's room, you'll see a lot of very, very obscure Marvel characters. So.
And you said you lived in France for a few years?
Yeah, early in my career in animation, I ran the Paris studio. We had a studio here from, I think, 1995 to about 2003, and I ran it for 3 years.
And did you want to end up this interview with a few words in French?
En français? Oh, je parle français comme Tarzan. C'est difficile pour moi. Mais j'adore France, j'adore Paris. Mon cours est cassé.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.